Welcome to the Athlete Insights Podcast, hosted by Yash Pad Day, a podcast focused on letting athletes tell their journeys in their sport. This podcast is presented by Boxed Water. Boxed water is better.
Welcome into another episode of the Athlete Insights Podcast. Today I've got my guest, Gavin Montoya. He's a wide receiver and safety for the Broomfield Eagles, for the Broomfield High School and the Eagles in Broomfield, Colorado, and 4A state champions this year. So congrats on that, Gavin. Congrats on a well-earned, well-deserved victory. Like I said, I told you off camera, watched it a little bit on Saturday, and you guys was a hell of a game. You guys were down 21-0 or 28-7, excuse me, and came back and won. And so congrats on that victory, my man, and appreciate you taking time to sit down with me today and chop it up with me today for sure.
Of course, man.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and so I know you said you've kind of watched some of my stuff, and so I start from where you started into now where you are, a state champion at Broomfield. And so can you talk about the first time you kind of got introduced to sport, your first interaction with sport in general? Maybe not football specific, but sport overall.
Yeah, and I actually was with football.
Okay.
It was Super Bowl 48, I think it was, with the Broncos and Seahawks.
Okay.
The Broncos got destroyed by the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I honestly kind of just fell in love with it then. I asked my dad to sign me up for football, maybe
Gotcha.
really close to when that game was. And he
Gotcha.
signed me up for the Spring Flag Football League at I-9 Sports.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just fell in love with it like right away. I got a pick in my first ever game and kind of just like laid it in my hands. And
Yeah.
I don't know, man, it's like a different type of love with it, like anything else in the world. Like, I love it.
For sure. Did you play any other sports? I know you said the Broncos Super Bowl really got you into football, but did you play any other sports growing up as well?
Growing
In
up,
that
I
regard.
played soccer and basketball. I played
Okay.
more basketball than soccer, but
Gotcha.
growing up, I was a big football and basketball guy, and then I played at the same
Gotcha. Gotcha. How do you think, and I know like basketball is a winter sport, football is a spring sport, and playing that, and I know a lot of athletes at the high school level are multi-sport, play different sports. I know you said you ran track last year at Broomfield, and so how has playing other sports helped translate the skill sets that you've learned in other sports helped to translate to your ability in your first love, which is football, and your major love, which is football?
It kind of just translated honestly with like athleticism and
Hmm.
conditioning, staying in shape.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's why I did track last year to stay in shape and maybe get a little faster over time. And it
Gotcha.
definitely helped a lot. I mean, it helps a lot. And then basketball helps with your like shiftiness because you're
Hmm.
moving down the court up and down really fast, and it helps
Yeah.
conditioning. You're sweating a ton, and then if
Gotcha.
you
Yeah.
want to like get a rebound or something, you got to get up and grab the ball. Same thing with a receiver. If you're throwing
Hmm.
a ball, you got to go up and grab it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think
A
that's
lot of
kind
lot of
of
50-50 balls or jump balls happen at
yeah.
the receiver position. And so it's great to have those skills, like you said, translate overall into that ability. And so is there one, I know you said like we'll get to high school and we'll get to kind of your future aspirations here in a second, but is there kind of one core memory from your youth sports that really stands out for you?
Yeah. So my seventh grade year, we were in the semifinal in the championship game. Or not, it's not
Okay.
the championship, but the semifinal to get to the championship game.
Gotcha.
And we were playing Brighton,
Hmm.
and I scored 3 touchdowns that game, and we thought I scored the game-winning touchdown,
Hmm.
and then our field goal got blocked, so and they ended up
Ah,
winning. But that's
dang.
definitely the best youth game I've ever played, and it was the most fun I've ever played. I scored an
Gotcha.
opening kickoff return, um, and it kind of set the tone for us. and
Mm-hmm.
then scored uh, another touchdown in like the second half. And then like 30 seconds left,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the quarterback throws a post right in the end zone and like catch it, and it ends up as a touchdown. And then sadly, the field goal gets blocked because our line wasn't very good.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
But yeah,
And
it was definitely the most fun game I've ever played. Like probably maybe this day, honestly. Other than the
oh no.
state championships, definitely the
Yeah,
best.
that's what I was gonna say. I think you gotta put the state title game
No,
uh
state titles
in there
definitely
in
number
there
one.
in there
State
somehow.
titles, yeah,
Uh
state titles definitely number one.
yeah, yeah. No, but it's great. I mean, youth sports are great. Great way to participate, great way to, again, like you said, most fun game you play because, having fun is an important piece of all this. And, it's great to see. And I coached at Greeley West with Coach Hickey, who's now at Broomfield with y'all
Okay.
last year. And so, that was kind of something I preached to players as well, as having fun and being in the moment. And yeah, it's competitive, but the fun part sometimes gets lost. So it's great to kind of see kind of that, how you prioritize that in the process, and go through that. So talking about your high school, your sophomore now, talking about your high school, kind of what has your experience been like in high school so far with athletics, with football, with, like you said, track, other things? Kind of, can you kind of detail your experience a little bit in the 2 years that you've been in high school?
Yeah, it's been awesome so far. I mean,
Hmm.
can't complain. State champs, and we made it to the semis last year.
Yeah.
Last year, I got pulled up as a freshman in our first practice,
Uh-huh.
pulled up to varsity,
Okay.
and I played JV my whole year and had a
Okay.
grade on it. I was like one of the leading receivers, maybe the leading receiver,
Gotcha.
and we were doing good. And I was having a lot of fun. Varsity did their thing. I was on special teams at the time.
Okay.
It was normal. It was a great season. I mean,
Hmm.
this season it was a lot of ups and downs, I'll
Yeah.
say. I definitely got frustrated at times, but I also was really happy because I mean, I was playing varsity as a sophomore, special teams, starting receiver,
Hmm.
and but I also was splitting reps with two other seniors,
Mm.
and that got frustrating at times where they would put them in over me sometimes or something like that. But I mean,
Yeah.
can't complain really. I mean, I'm the guy next year. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
the guy senior year, so
Yeah.
I
You,
mean,
you, just got to be patient with the turn. But yeah,
of
it's
course, that's why I'm not like I'm very happy with the outcome of the season.
yeah.
Yeah, I love both those guys. Those They're
Hmm.
good friends of mine now,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I'm just ready to go ball,
I
like
gotcha.
with the reins in my hands.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, you be the number one, and you be in control, and that's great to kind of see how that's progression is going to happen next year. And can you talk about your coach, Coach O'Brien? What impact has he had on your high school football career so far? Kind of, what can you detail your relationship with Coach O'Brien, and his impact overall on your growth as a football player?
Yeah, Coach O'Brien's a amazing guy.
Hmm.
Even outside of football, he's an amazing person, very caring, very respectful.
Hmm.
But when he gets the coach mode, I mean, he's very serious, and I love how like hard he coaches.
Yeah.
When I was going into my freshman year,
Hmm.
the previous head coach at Broomfield got fired,
Hmm.
and he won Coach of the Year before that. That was when they won state in 2022,
Gotcha.
and it was really scary because I was going into Broomfield, and I was like, wait, like, is everything going to change? What's going to happen? Is there going to be a new coaching staff? Like, I was already knowing all of these coaches
Yeah.
from Broomfield,
Yeah.
especially Coach Hubbard. He knew exactly who I was. He went to my game sometimes, all that.
Hmm.
And then O'Brien came in, and I was a little nervous to meet him at first, obviously, because he was the head coach, and I never really met him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's an amazing guy.
Hmm.
Really love him as a coach. Really love him as a person. He he's brought this community in Broomfield, and uh, the football program a lot of joy.
For sure, for sure. And it's all about, culture. Winning is a part of it. It's all about building a winning culture. And it's great to see what you guys have built there over the last 2 years at Broomfield, and what Coach O'Brien um, has done for, like you said, that community in Broomfield. And, it takes a village and it takes a community to really spearhead a football program in my eyes. And really, the job that you have done, the job that your team has done, the job that Coach O'Brien's done, really building that community piece, is key and it's important. And now you're for a state champs this year, so it's great to see. Great to see that progression lead to success and beyond. And so, like I said, I have a lot of respect. I've not met Coach O'Brien, but just my interaction with him on Twitter and X and social media, like you said, very very generous, caring person and individual, and so it's been great to kind of see that transpire. But the other aspect that I really want to touch on as well with this is, I'm big on NIL at the college level, and making sure athletes are getting paid and going through the process. And now NIL is really seeping into the high school level, and we talk about, you jumping into that role as wide receiver one, that key role for Broomfield, and kind of the reps that you got at the varsity level this year. Have you thought about, and I know like NIL changes like week to week. So like Colorado right now, there's certain schools, there's certain restrictions on NIL. Some schools allow it, some schools don't. Can you talk about, have you thought about your recruiting process? Have you thought about NIL, and
I
things of
def-
that nature?
I've definitely thought about my recruiting process and where I want to go
Okay.
in
Can you
college,
talk
but
about that a little bit?
I haven't really thought about NIL very much.
Okay.
It just hasn't really crossed my mind. I mean,
Yeah.
if I get NIL money, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But honestly, I just want to go for the experience to play college football.
I
And
gotcha.
yeah, there's been a lot of schools that have been on my radar. Really, my two main schools I want to go to are CSU and UNC, close to home.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I really like CSU's football program, and I really like their campus. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
and then
Oh, it's
UNC,
a.
I'm
Hmm.
definitely more in touch with right now than
Yeah.
CSU.
Gotcha.
I'm not really in touch with CSU yet, but UNC, I'm in touch with a little bit.
Gotcha.
AJ Rigel is their wide receiver coach. Me and him text
Hmm.
sometimes to send him my film. He
Yeah.
congratulated me on the state championship.
Yeah.
I go to their camps every year, so
Yeah. Well,
I'm very excited to stay in
yeah.
touch with them.
I would tell you UNC's, I mean, I'm finishing up my PhD over there, and I was there for 3 years, and I'll tell you, Greeley's a great spot, UNC's a great spot.
Yeah.
Great people over there. But and I hope you do, when you get to that level, even, next year, you know, I hope you do, because just looking at your numbers, looking at how you play, how dynamic you are from both ends, safety and wide receiver. I hope you do get paid NIL wise, whether it's next year or into college. Because I'm all about student athletes getting paid,
Mhm.
for what they deserve. And, they, and so that's why, like, I see the work ethic, I see kind of where you're at. And I was watching the state title game. I've watched you guys a couple times this year. You've made some good plays, made some big plays. And so, like I said, I truly hope you get paid, whether it's next year at the high school level or, in college, at the college football level, when it comes to that in terms of NIL, and NIL money in that regard. But the other aspect, the reason I started the podcast was really to, talk to athletes, talk about have them reflect on their career, have them talk about their career and all. But really, I want to use this platform as a way to help, inspire young people, the youth, youth football players, youth soccer players, youth volleyball players, to really understand what it takes to get to that level. And now, you said 2013 really, helped you drive up your drive towards football. And now, 11 years later, you're a state champion, and but a lot of people see that state title, but they don't see the work behind it. And so really want to ask you what's kind of the best piece of advice that you've gotten throughout your football journey so far.
Never give up and wait your turn.
Wait, okay, okay,
Definitely wait your turn is a big one. I've
gotcha.
always in youth I was always the guy, and
Hmm.
my freshman year I was kind of the guy on JV,
Yeah.
but this year on varsity I wasn't really like the main guy,
Hmm.
and I really wanted to be,
Yeah.
and but I also had really good athletes in front of and not necessarily in front of me,
Hmm.
but there are really good athletes who played with me. I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mikel Benner, he's a D1 athlete. Gio Toledo, D2, D1 athlete.
Hmm.
And both seniors, both really good people, really good players.
Yeah.
And I definitely have had conversations with coaches and just mainly the wide receiver coach, Craig Patton out of Broomfield. Just,
Hmm.
like me being frustrated and him just kind of like cooling me down, saying, like, you're the guy next year. It's their time right now. Your time is next year. It's
Yeah.
honestly really good advice because it helps me like show like this season that it's not I and team. It's kind of like it's not me, it's we.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I helps my team as much as I could by blocking for the slots and running backs in our
Hmm.
offense when we run certain plays. And then on special teams, I think I was on every single special teams
Hmm.
uh, over the season, and
Yeah.
just try to do my role there. And then next year, take my spot as being the guy at wide receiver.
Hmm. Special teams, though, special teams is an underrated positions on special teams, an underrated group, in my eyes, right? Special teams is a key, can make or break a game, right? We saw the
100%. Yeah,
Cowboys and Bengals game, the last block punt, which ended up getting, the way that game ended, and it ended on a special teams error, in that regard. And so, like I said, for me, I look at special teams and I'm like, special teams is an underrated spot to be in. It's a great spot to learn, like you said, and then now as you move into that wide receiver one role at Broomfield. And so just you talk about not giving up and having patience, and that's the best advice that you've received so far throughout your football journey. But now I want to kind of turn it to you to provide advice, and I want you to kind of think about picture yourself in a room with young football players, youth football players like you were at middle school, elementary, middle school, pee wee football. What advice would you give them in terms of to get to the level that you're at now as a state champion?
definitely gets mentally hard.
Hmm.
Um, with like, do I want to keep doing this or do I like why am I putting all of this work in
Hmm.
to not play? Like, say you're a sophomore, freshman who has a junior or senior in front of them.
Hmm.
Like, why am I putting all of this work just to sit on the sidelines? Your freshman,
Hmm.
senior year, you are going to go through that. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter how amazing you are.
yeah.
Like, there will be adversity, and
Hmm.
my advice is just keep working. Your time is
Hmm.
going to come, and
Hmm.
never give up in the like weight room. You gotta work as hard as you can 24/7. And
Yeah,
I think now I also think don't worry about like college when you're super young yet.
yeah.
I mean, of course, when you actually get film from coaches, or not from coaches, from games,
Hmm.
post it on Twitter, send it to coaches, all that. But don't worry about like how many offers you have when you're super young, or
Hmm.
it doesn't matter. If you all until you're a junior in high school, it's all unofficial. So
Hmm.
I think just worry about you until you are playing
Yeah.
on varsity and getting as much film as you can,
It's
and stay
great
patient.
advice. Yeah, stay patient and focus on you. Like that's the great thing. I think we get lost in looking at other people and what other people have, and we tend to not really have an introspective reflection of ourselves. And It's great advice as to just focus on what you're doing and your path and your goal
Yeah.
and everything.
It's you versus you out there. It's not you
Yeah,
versus another person.
yeah. It's great advice, great insight on that, Gavin. So I appreciate you. You appreciate you taking the time tonight and just really dropping good insights and good reflection about your career and your goals and what you're at. And so, with that, that's all the time that we have for this episode of the Athlete Insights podcast. You can follow Gavin on Instagram and X, Twitter X, and I'll have your social medias up on the video. So followers, individuals can follow you and your journey throughout the rest of your high school career and into college potentially. And you can follow my podcast on Google Podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcast, pretty much everywhere you get a podcast, you can find this one. So Gavin, I appreciate you taking the time, man, tonight and spending some time with me, reflecting on your career, talking about your career, and giving, like I said, giving advice to the youth because that's what it's about, right? It's we get to that as you get older, you realize your real contribution is helping the young generation and helping the youth come up and succeed as you succeed. And so I appreciate you taking that time and giving that advice. And like I said, I really hope that you have a great off season. You have a great like I said, I'll be watching Broomfield from here on out. So I hope you guys I'll be watching you guys next season as well. Hope you guys repeat and defend next year as well. And I hope you have a great season next year as well for you. And like I said, I hope at some point, I know NIL is seeping into the high school ranks, it's seeping into the college ranks, but I sincerely mean this. I hope you do get paid um, in that regard as well.
Thank
So
you. Yeah.
yeah, so I appreciate you. But with that said, we'll see you next time.